So I have a new little parcel today that's arrived from Jackson's Art, and I thought I'd open it on camera. Yay. So what have I got here? I've got two new Windsor and Newton watercolours. So these are colours I haven't tried before. So I've got a Quinacridone gold because I've got an acrylic Quinacridone gold and I absolutely love it. And I'm nearly out of my raw sienna in my palette, so I thought I'd try this as a replacement for that. And then I've got sepia because I wanted like a kind of a nice neutrally warm colour. I've got some nice neutrally blue colours. Payne's grey, it's kind of bluey tinge, but I wanted like a neutral colour that had like a warm tinge to it, so I've gone for sepia. So I'm going to try those. This is a tiny little tube of watercolour, and it's a Primatech Daniel Smith watercolour, and it's called Hematite Genuine. And again, it's a neutral colour, but what this looks like it does on the swatches is that it kind of really separates out, so you get like lots of little granulated areas in it. So I really wanted to try something like that. And I've got these for a particular project that I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Because I'm probably not going to use paint in a tube, if I have it, it'll probably just get put in a drawer somewhere. I thought I'd get some little pans, or half pans, and put some of my tube paints in there and put them in my palette, so I'd be more likely to use them. So I got a little set of 6. And then the rest of this is a bit of an experiment. So I am planning to do a video on white pens because I have, hang on, where is it? So yeah, so I have a Uni Posca marker pen that I really like and that I use on top of watercolour, and it looks great. Apart from, on top of some colours, it just completely disappears. So for some reason, when I use this on top of some of the colours, but not all of them, you can hardly see it. So I thought I would try not just one type of other white pen, but I thought I'd do a whole video where I swatch different white pens and see how they look on top of different colours of watercolour and maybe some other media as well. So I want to see how they work, how they function, so that I can pick the best pen for the job. So I got 3 of the Sakura Jelly Roll pens in white, and these come in different sizes. So there's a 0.3mm, a 0.4mm and a 0.5mm. And I might find that really useful because getting really fine lines with a white pen would be incredibly useful. And then these, so this one is the same Posca pen, but it's got a different tip to it, to the ones that I've been using. And I think it might be a finer tip. And so I've got a couple of pens in different colours in this style, and I really like them. So I thought because this one is running a little dry, I thought I'd get a replacement and get one with a like the more pointy tip on it. So I'll see how they compare. Then these ones, I've no idea how they are or how they'll function. So this is, what is it? Ah yes, this is a Montana acrylic water-based pen. Now Montana are mostly known for their spray paints, and the pens are kind of like sold as an accompaniment to the spray paints, but I thought I'd give that a go. This is a Derwent paint pen. So yeah, again, white. And finally, I've got a Pitt pen, a Faber-Castell Pitt artist brush pen in white. So I'm going to give that a go as well. So I'm going to save the white pens, and they're going to go into another video that you'll see very soon. So that'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I'll put these to one side. And today I want to test these watercolours. So I'm going to wait for those to dry, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the project that I bought these for, and I'm going to do a little bit of experimenting with them. So, right, leave them to dry and then come back in a few minutes. So here we go, these are my 3 colours now they're dry. So this top one, I hope you can see, has formed into, like, it looks like a kind of a neutrally creamy base that's got all of these kind of greyish black particles suspended in it. And then as you get towards the kind of the washy end of it, it looks more of a kind of a solid grey colour. But up here, you've definitely got that kind of split tone. You can see the brush strokes in there, so that's something I'll have to watch out for. This one here, this is the Quinacridone Gold, and yeah, it's really interesting. I'm not sure it's coming out on camera, but at this end you've got this kind of like rusty orange colour, and then down here it looks almost like lemony yellow. Definitely gets kind of cooler as you go towards the lighter end. And then this one as well, it kind of gets greener as it goes towards the more kind of washy end, but this here is kind of like a really nice warm brownish grey colour. I managed to drop my wet paintbrush in it, and you can see that I've got some blooms and things there. They look really obvious on the Quinacridone Gold, so I'm wondering if that's a colour that blooms really easily. So I think yeah, that could be really interesting to play with. And then just for Nat, because these are the little packaging things that it comes with, they just completely dissolve in water. So they're really cool. Yeah. Lovely. Yeah. Right, let's go wash this off. So I promised I'd tell you what I got these for, as well as just for general painting and adding into whatever I'm doing. I decided that I'm going to take part in the 100 Days Project Scotland. So this is 100 days of making art, and I'm going to post it to my art Instagram account. So if you don't know, why would you? I've got 2 Instagram accounts. So there's one that's kind of like where I put the things that I'm working on for videos and all sorts of different kind of pattern making and like lots of fun colours and things like that. And then I've got another art account which is mainly for my printmaking, and everything that I do on there has a certain kind of look and feel, and I use lots of geometric abstracts, and I work on designs in my sketchbook that I'm going to put into prints, and the things that I show on there tend to be very, very neutral in tone and usually abstract in form. So I'm going to use that account for this project because I really want to work out, I've spent the last year kind of playing with watercolours and developing different styles and techniques and working on some really fun projects, but I'm not quite sure how it fits with my abstract printmaking. So I thought I'd do this project where I combine watercolours and pens and the abstract forms, the geometric shapes, and the lots of things that I use in that kind of project, like repetition and regularity, repeating simple lines and shapes. And I thought I'd try and create a series of paintings, doing one a day, where I mix my painting techniques with that abstract geometric form. I've got a couple of examples that I've started with. So these little triangles are very much the kind of thing that I'd be doing, but the circles with the watercolours, not so much. And again, this one's got the watercolour loops, but it's also got some of this very fine pen work in there as well. And I've wanted to create these with the same kind of colour palette that I use in my prints, and I tend to stick to kind of creams, golds, and then neutral greys. I had a couple of goes of creating a neutral colour palette with the paints that I already have, and I think there's a beautiful palette in there, and I've included these gold paints as well, and I'm going to be adding those into the paintings that I make. But I felt that this skewed very blue, especially with the indigo and the Payne's grey and the Lunar blue, which is a Daniel Smith colour. And I really like it, but I felt that I was kind of missing some of the warmer greys. So I may include some of the cooler greys in the neutral palette that I'm going to use, but I wanted some warmer ones as well. So that's why I went for these particular colours. And then the Quinacridone gold, to add a distinctive kind of bright in there that could act as a foil to all of those neutrals. This is my little stash of paper that I've torn to size ready, and this isn't watercolour paper. I'm not quite sure how this is going to function, but the samples that I've done already are on this paper, and I think it's held up quite well. So this is printmaking paper. It's called Zircal, and when I make prints I quite often use this paper. It's lovely and white and it's got a very smooth surface. When I print I tend to make square ones, so obviously paper comes in rectangles, so that means that I always have offcuts that I put and draw and then not quite sure what to do with. So I've taken quite a few of my offcuts and have torn them down to squares, and the idea is that I'll do a little square drawing and painting every day for 100 days. So that's the plan. I'm going to have to see whether I can stick to it. So telling you that I'm doing this is part of my kind of keeping myself accountable. But I thought I'd do one today, but I'm not going to do it on one of these bits of paper. I'm going to save those for my 100 days project, and that starts on the 1st of June. So I'm going to work today in the sketchbook. So these sketchbooks are ones that I've been working on as a product design. So the designs on the front are my own and I've screen printed them. And then the idea is that you can you see that? You can get them personalised with your name or a friend's name, or you could have sketchbook written on it or something like that. So these are letterpress printed with vintage metal type, and then the designs on them are screen printed in gold. So I've got a couple of different designs. I've got one with leafy border, and then I've got some little dinky jotters as well. So a few years ago I made quite a few notebooks to sell at markets with letterpress printed covers. So I bought a spiral binding machine, and I was always fairly happy with them, but I wanted to kind of up the quality and up the game of them. So for these ones I've made a sketchbook that I want to use essentially. So I love a square format. So the square sketchbooks that I've bought before I really love using. So I've got quite a few of these ones from Jackson's Arts, so these are some of my kind of geometric abstract forms that I do in here. So I really like these, but the thing I find about square sketchbooks is that the paper, the card, is always exactly square, but that doesn't take into account the perforations down the side. So when you draw something in it, you end up with if you want something that's really regular, really square, let's see, you end up with a greater margin at the top and the bottom than you do on either side. So it doesn't sit kind of perfectly in the page. So you can see this one, there's like the margin on this side includes the perforations, but it's kind of equal around the three sides. But then this side, it feels like it just feels a bit constricted, a bit tight. So what I wanted to do was to create a sketchbook where the pages were square, but that didn't include the perforations. So you could line things up perfectly in the center of the page. And I know that seems like a really specific complaint, but if you've got a chance to make something yourself that you would use, then why not make it exactly as you want to use it? I will be launching these at the end of June. For now, I've been using this one to test out. So these are my kind of product testing books. So I've been doing all sorts of different media work in them. So here is a pen and ink mandala. Here is some watercolour with nice gold watercolour in it as well, because I really wanted to test out how this paper would hold up to watercolour. It's quite thick paper and it's all recycled. It's made from recycled coffee cups. It was a recommendation from a bookbinding friend last year. We did a project together where we made painted books, and it held up really, really well to paint. So I thought it would be great for a kind of multimedia sketchbook. It's got a little bit of a tooth to it, but it's not completely flat, but it doesn't have much texture. But I think it held up really quite well to the watercolour. It's kind of, yeah, you can see a little bit of ghosting, but not too much. And then this is gouache. So again, I think it held up even better to the gouache. You can hardly see any buckling. And again, there's a little bit of ghosting, so you can see the image on the other side of the page. So I'm going to play with this little book a little bit more for the next few weeks, just to make sure that I'm really happy with how it performs before I start putting them on my shop. So I'm working in my sketchbook, and I'm going to do an abstract painting. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but I know I'm going to use these 3 colours, which are the 3 colours that I've just unboxed. So you can't really tell what they are in the palette, but I've just stuck them in there for now. Plus some ivory black, and then some gold from this gold palette as well. So I think I'm going to start by making a square grid. So let's do that. So I've got my nice grid here, and then I think I'm just going to do a little circle in each one, different colours, and then just play with the tones and blend them together, let them bleed. I might do some wet on dry. Let's just see. Clean my palette a bit, give me some more space to work. This one I'm just painting water, and then let's drop some colour into it. need to stop before I ruin it, because I'm liking the wet into wet better than the wet into dry, or the wet into semi-dry. So I'm going to let it dry, and yeah, and then I'm going to take away my pencil lines. But yeah, that was quite fun. There's some beautiful colours on there. Some of them are looking quite green, but it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it doesn't look very green on camera, but in real life this one looks really kind of quite greeny. But it'll be interesting to see when it's dry whether it retains that colour. But yeah, I love the way that the hematite kind of separates. But what was really surprising was how the sepia, just when you put it into wet paint, it just goes poof, and it kind of repels all the other pigments. It was really interesting. So yeah, there's some beautiful effects there. So that was good fun to play with. I'm going to have great fun with these over the next few weeks. So again, I'll put a link below to where you can find my little experiments with different types of paints and pens and all like abstract stuff, neutral palette. That's my only kind of rule, is that I'm sticking to this palette of colours and I'm not drawing things. So I am going to give myself freedom to develop a style and yeah, just play over the 100 days and see where it takes me. If you give something like this a go, I'd love to see your take on it. So as always, you can tag me on Instagram with any of the work that you create that's inspired by my videos. I love to see it, and you can tag my normal Instagram account, Lou Rachel Davis, or my kind of printmaking and abstract art account, which is Lou Davis Art. So there should be another video going live on Wednesday, all being well, and sneak peek, I shall be doing a drawing of this building here. So what you'll see here is what happens if you don't check that your paint is dry before going in to remove your pencil lines. I have smudged all the way up here, which is a shame because I love this. You can see the way that the light reflects off the gold. And I love these colours, this burnt orange. This is like my favourite colour, this burnt orange. So I'm not sponsored by Jackson's Arts, although I have mentioned them quite a few times in this video, but I do have an affiliate account with them. So the white pens that I've bought, I bought with affiliate credit, and that is commission that I get from the links in the description. So if you follow those links, then I get a bit of commission, and you get a discount if it's the first time you've ordered from them. So that's my little disclaimer here. I use that to buy extra art supplies that I wouldn't normally buy to test out for the channel. So just to let you know, that's what's going on there. So yeah, so thanks very much for watching today. I really hope that you've enjoyed this. If you did, then give it a like, and if you want to see more from me, then do subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.